welcome back to another Fireside Chat. And today we have Sue Cody with us. Thank you for joining us, Sue. And we are going to be looking again at choices. So,
yes, that was the first of the sermons about choices, and it sort of was set up by Joshua saying to the people of Israel, okay, I'm just about to die, choose this day whom you're going to serve. He was a little doubtful as to whether they turned around and said, yeah, we're going to serve God, and he said, you sure? You haven't done that great before. And they said, oh yeah, we're going to do it, and then of course very soon you get to come to the end of the book of Joshua, into the book of Judges, and into the book of Judges where they forget everything that they've already said they were going to do.
Despite the fact that God knows that we're going to make difficult choices and oftentimes choose away from Him, He allows us to have choice because it's so fundamental to His nature of love, and you can't love without choosing to love.
Yeah. Right. We see the pattern of choices starting right at the beginning of the Bible, we're looking at choices now. But basically, almost every page of the Bible has a choice of some sort on it. Just like every day of our lives has a choice of some sort.
I have two major choices that have affected my life and still are. I did not always have the Lord in my life. I had my wild times where I drank and dabbled in methamphetamine and still raised my kids, went to work every day, functioned as sometimes dabbling in methamphetamine. Anyway, when my grandson was born, Chris is 21 now, when he was born, I was living in the desert and they were living in Long Beach, but I would come back and forth and go visit him. My daughter and her then partner turned to me and they said, if you're going to come and visit Christopher, you can't use anymore. And I went, wow, okay. And I made that choice on the ride home to stop. And I did. I totally stopped any drugs. I still had an occasional glass of wine, but it wasn't to the point where I was not in control all the time. I totally stopped the partying and all that other stuff, and I made a conscious decision to put my family first. Finally, my kids had asked earlier when they were younger for me to stop, and I ignored them. Apologized to them, tried to make up to them for it too many times. They're tired of hearing it. But it was a conscious decision made, like you said, with love, for love, and I'm a better person for it. My children are better for it because they saw that you can turn your life around. You can make mistakes. You can redeem yourself. You can still go on to be a good person and a good parent.
Do you think at that point, when you made that decision, that God was in any way sort of, were you conscious of Him or not?
No, but I distinctly remember praying and saying, I don't know if I can do this on my own. Of course, there has to be someone that's stronger than me, and that the only person I knew was the Lord. I know I've never prayed so hard in my life when my son was given his sentence. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had just moved to the Bay Area, and I didn't think I knew he was floundering in the desert, and I knew he was not doing good things, and I knew all that. But when I got the phone call that he was arrested for something quite serious, I just didn't know what I was going to do. I was really searching for help then, and lo and behold, a friend of my daughter's knew about Kairos Outside Prison Ministry and got me in touch with someone up here that I could attend a weekend. And I did not make that decision on my own. That choice was totally the Lord. I'm not kidding you, because I did not want to go. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how to drive there. I didn't know what to expect. A weekend with people I didn't know. It's like, and I kept, you know, you have a guest contact that's calling you and telling you about the information about Kairos ministry, and you know, you go, okay, yeah, sure, you know, okay, but I still was afraid to go.
Yeah.
But I finally went, oh, what else have I got? You know, I don't know how I can help my son. I certainly can't afford an attorney. I need help for me because I'm not that strong to do this catastrophe thing that's happened on my own. So I took a chance. But I think the Lord was shoving me out the door to get there. I almost didn't even get out of my car. It was really, when I look back on it.
So it's a whole series of choices.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm choosing to get in the car. I'm choosing to get out of the car. I think it's very often, it's really important to realize that very often it's not one choice we make. It's a choice after a choice after a choice, because because every one of those places you could have turned around and said, no thanks.
Yeah, you know, and it's still, but I stayed, and that was the Lord, because I totally was not comfortable still, you know, but I saw love, and I saw people listening to each other. And I saw the Lord in people's faces looking at me and smiling and letting me know I wasn't alone anymore. And watching that happen for myself, and that was so, I don't even think the whole experience really hit me until afterwards. But since then, working on other teams and watching females go through the weekend just like I did, I've seen miracles happen. And I've seen the Holy Spirit come into a room and shake people up and make them dance and sing and rejoice and cry. And what a choice.
But it's such a wonderful picture, Sue, the way you point out it, the way each little choice you make, or they seem like little choices, God reveals you just enough to take you to the next choice. Say, okay, I can make that one. Just enough that, you know, that he doesn't sort of suddenly say, tell you what, it's all or nothing. But you make a good choice, and he then says, look, and you say, okay, now are you ready to make the next one? And I just find that so encouraging, because
it really was, because when you decide to, after you've done your weekend, then you decide you want to work a weekend to show the next person how your life can be different with people that know and understand. The things that I watched happen, you make a commitment first that you're going to work that team.
Right.
And so making that choice is a commitment. You're going to have like 4 Saturdays that you have to be in a meeting that's all day. You have a weekend that you're going to be there for 3 days. You can't say no, you know, you have to be there. It's a commitment monetarily, minor, but still. And each time I knew that I was going to make a difference in someone's life, be it small or large. And I knew that the Lord was going to be there, and that he was going to show up, and the Holy Spirit, and I was going to see miracles. And I did. I have every single time I've worked a team, and I've worked about, I don't know, 9 or 10 of them. So, you know, if I wouldn't have not gone to that weekend, I think I would have still been floundering out there without the Lord in my life, because it definitely brought me back to the Lord in a big way.
Wow.
And the desire to help other people, you know. It's why I loved doing Matthew 25. And I did San Francisco Food Bank when I lived at my daughter's. Every Tuesday I handed out food for hours. I like to help people. That's just my thing. Or our grocery program that we did with Casa and Sharon and Gary. My role is small. My choice was to help. My choice was to be a mediator. And
I was 5 when my dad became a Christian, so all my, you know, years that I am conscious of, our family has been a Christian family, but in my teenage years, I don't know if at that time I was mature enough to realize I was making a conscious decision, but I know now looking back that I was deciding to compartmentalize God. And I still want to do the Christian thing, but on the side I'm gonna see what I can get away with. I after the first good relationship I had, I think I made the choice to grab what I felt like I could not have, because I had made a decision to say, okay, I'm going to honor you, God, in that relationship. But I still really feel like I need to be affirmed for who I am. And whatever you are saying, it's not enough. And so I got into a really bad relationship with the next boyfriend, and time again I was pushing the, kind of going right to the edge of what I knew was good for me and the choices that God wanted me to make. And when I finally broke up, I was so broken from that relationship, because he was very manipulative about encroaching upon my boundaries. So after that, when I was finally able to separate from that relationship, I was still in sort of rebellion, right? I still was sort of like, this is my Christian life. I still want God, but I also want this other thing, which is boys to like me, right? So I got into another relationship, and finally it's in my freshman year where I was so broken. I could just see my life spiraling down, and my parents was like, why are you doing so poorly in your studies? Because I've always been a good student. And I was just emotionally, I think I wasn't mature enough to put words to it, but emotionally I was really struggling. And God just, I think, confronted me and said, like, you need to decide who you want. Do you want to satisfy your desire to be loved, your need to be loved with all of this stuff? Or are you ready to give me your whole heart? So that was a big decision. But for a while, I was just sort of rebelling, and I could see my life just spiral, one decision after another.
I resonate with that, because certainly I grew up in a Christian family, and so in a sense following God was part of what was expected. And I lived all through my teenage years. I just thought, well, I want to get away with as much as I can. I want to do the Christian thing. I know I'm supposed to. And I've told this story before, when because God brought me to a choice when I went to live in Bristol, which is a town in England, and I said to the Lord, I can't believe I actually said this, but I said to him, Lord, I know I need to go to church because it's what I'm supposed to do, but could you find me a church that won't obstruct my social life?
Okay.
I hate to
Conditional.
admit it, but I actually prayed that prayer.
Oh wow.
And I mean, I just feel enormously privileged that God didn't get really angry with me. I think he just laughed. And because he led me to a church which became my life. And that was the beginning of the point where I had to make that choice. Either I'm going to follow him, or I'm going to do the... Now, it wasn't a once and for, but I began those little choices that I was going to make that ended up saying, okay, I'm in this long lock, stock and barrel,
Yeah.
think it's interesting how God allows us, He puts up with those choices that we make when we choose away from Him. It's almost like He's letting go of the leash and just sort of letting you figure out what's this choice, what is the choice really before you. They clarify sort of like, okay, if you keep choosing this path, you see where you are going, and you get to a point where He then sort of holds up this other side and say, are you ready now? Like, are you happy with the path that you are on? Or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
do you
Right.
does this
Yeah.
now look like an invitation as opposed to me trying to control you?
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the Psalms, David says he gave them, and we're going to see this in one of the later Choices sermons. He gave them the desires of their heart and sent leanness into their souls.
Yeah.
Because he very often says, okay, you know, I'm not going to stop you if you're determined that you know best, if you're determined that you want to make this choice, I'm not going to stand in your way, but there are going to be consequences.
Yeah.
And look what happened to the people of Israel. I mean, they went on and on and on making bad choices until they went into exile.
That even from the moment that Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, that he already knew the extent of how much he would be willing to go to redeem them from the bad choices that we make as human beings, right? I mean, there's the individual choices, and then there's the community level choices, as well as the sort of humanity level choices, right? And he was willing to go to the cross. He was willing to die for it. And I think because he knew that he was willing to go to that extent, he's able to give us choice for that reason. And I wonder if you guys have experienced a redemption from those choices, because sometimes we think, oh, if I keep making bad choices, then I will have those consequences forever, you know. But God is so gracious, and I
Yes.
wonder where you've seen His graciousness in redeeming those choices that you made.
Oh, and I know that He's shown me grace many times in my life, up to the point where I was able to get into the apartment I'm in. I know that was the Lord intervening on getting me out of a tough situation that I was at with my family, and I know that was the Lord that helped me, and I know it was the Lord that that changed my son's sentence from an LWOP to just a lifer stance. Maybe He also made us lose our last case, but it doesn't mean that He's forgotten. I think that He still will be instrumental in helping my son get released, but it's going to be in His time. It's not anybody else's. It's in the Lord's time. So, yeah. But forgiveness, yeah, that's something I know is there from the Lord. So, yeah.
He put breakups into my life. so people broke up with me, which I was devastated about. But I know very well that with the people, I was very blatant in going out with non-Christian people. I knew I wasn't going to marry them, but I just thought these are fun people, and you know I can live on the edge here. And then, but they broke up with me, and I was devastated. But it was God's protection as He walked through those consequences with me and kept saying to me, "Do you know, Jonathan, I told you what was right, and you didn't do it, and look what's happened again."
Yeah, He definitely protected me, because I made the decision to sort of say no to relationships in my freshman year in college. And for the next first of all, I think he surrounded me with a really great Christian community. He let me fall into that really great community, but then he protected me from any other relationships, because anytime someone liked me, I never liked them back. And every time I liked somebody, they didn't like me back.
Yeah.
And it was just this kind of like
That's the
missed
way
thing.
it
Okay.
Yeah, and then in my junior year, I met Brennan, and that was the first time that someone liked me and I liked them at the same time, and I had to make a decision again. Do I live up to my pact with God, which was I'm not going to get involved in a relationship because it's very distracting to me. I realize now that all I want is you. But you know that I want a partner in life, and I will trust you. I will trust you that at the right time you will bring the right person. And God, in this, it's a story for another time, but in a very miraculous way, made his very clear to us that this was the person that you're going to marry.
Okay.
I mean, it's so true, isn't it? That the choices we make so much difference in our lives.
Well,
Very
thank you
proud.
so much for joining us,
Sure, of
Sue,
course.
and sharing your story. And we hope to hear more as God continues to work in your life.
Okay. Great.